How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. I'm Jimmy. I'm making it work. We're gonna spend a day in the shop. I just got to get it opened up first. That's what we're here to do. Look at this, man. BMW is even lower now. It's getting close. Getting real close. That thing's gonna be done soon. Oh, look at this. Look at that. We got places to put cars again. Cadillac towed out of here. They towed out, I think that took 12 cars out of here so far. All the ones that the customers don't answer emails and phone calls. Some of them been here over a year. Some of them for 4 months or so. But to me, anything over 90 days, you don't answer your phone, scrap. Just take that as a little bit of advice if you're gonna have your car somewhere and just leave it there and not return phone calls. It's just not the way adults do stuff. But this adult is gonna take you around the shop today, fixing some cars, hopefully, trying to, learning some things, having some fun, low drama, low stress, and we're gonna have a good day. I feel it. It's Friday. I don't know when you're watching this video. If you watch them when I post them, it'll be on a Friday. But either way, I appreciate you tuning in, and we're gonna try to make it worth your time. So let's finish getting this place open up, get in there, and make the day count. Stay tuned. I'm gonna do just the rear main seal. I'm not worried about the rest of the week for now. I think they're gonna do those themselves. So I'm on my second can of brake clean, getting this thing cleaned up. It's a mess. So it's gonna still leak oil when we're done, but it won't leak as much. You gotta look at the positive. All right, we got everything pretty well cleaned up on this thing. I forget what year it is, like 05 or something like that, 03. 370,000 miles on it. Got a new transmission, or fairly new transmission in it. Probably would have been a great time to do the rear main while I had it out, but not crazy about these chrome pans. They almost always leak, 99.9% of the time. The chrome just doesn't let the gasket get stiction, and it seeps fluid. So I never use those. And all I'm doing, I'm wearing my hat. Not because I'm one of the cool kids, but because I get less drips in my head and it messes up my beautiful hair. And you know I work hard to maintain that. And also you can bang your head while you're doing this stuff, because pulling the transmission out, well, this lift is an exception. This is as high as it goes. But lifts that work properly, you don't put them all the way up so you can reach the top of the transmission and stuff. In any event, gonna get the lower bolts out of the way. You got to do the starter so that you can get to the converter bolts, which is new also. And once I get this lower stuff out of the way and the converter bolts out, then I can put the transmission jack under here, pull the cross member and the exhaust. You probably could do this without taking the exhaust completely out, because you're not taking the transmission out. But I find it's more of a hassle. I just get it out of the way. Then I can actually lower the vehicle down and work on the rear main a little more comfortably anyway. And I'm just trying to keep this all from dripping any more than it has to. We're gonna get going. One thing I like to do is get the shift cable off the transmission so I can get the drive shaft disconnected easier. Just work the park lever from here, get it out of park, and we're good to go. Got it discombobulated anyway. Trust me, it fits. Just don't give up. A lot better sitting there with a wrench. Get back here. Old habits die hard. I just like to leave one side in. I don't know why. I'm gonna get a little catch can in case a little fluid comes out of there. That's a bummer. Got bad U-joints. Get these O2 sensors disconnected. lava. The shield that blocks the main connector. 2 10s hold this side. Now this connector, you just squeeze it and it pops right off. I usually leave the wires attached if I can. Some vehicles have a generous harness and you can move it enough to get to the converter bolts. Some you can't, you got to undo the wiring too, but we'll see. Tiny little bolt, usually it's a 10mm head. There you go. It's all about getting this out. Engine feels nice and tight for this kind of miles. Must not be original. Who am I kidding? Chevys last forever. You can risk leaving that in there and hope it doesn't fall, but it usually falls. That's what I got to get out. 3 of those, and they are really tight. Whoever put this transmission in was big and strong. Or had access to lots of impact guns. And they're big and strong. And there's Loctite on this bolt too. Strictly for better content. One more of those, we can get the tranny jack. Before I get the transmission jack, I think I will take these exhaust bolts loose. Less stuff in the way. I'm sorry to those of you who live up near Erico. Check. This one last bolt is a different size. I hope I shouldn't have bragged and there's going to be trouble. That'll be alright. You guys probably couldn't even see. That one there, that looks a little weird. We'll see what happens. I got to disconnect this O2. Then I'll get the tranny jack and hold stuff up. A little bit of problem with these. You see where it's cracked? See the little crack right here? What happens is these like to glue themselves to the sensor. I don't know if epoxy oozes out of the sensor into the connectors or what, but if you try to force them, you end up destroying the Prindle switch and the connectors and have to replace them all. So what I do is take this bolt out and very slowly take this one that they hid under the connector out, because they got a crap design and they made it almost impossible to get around it. Bill, Bob, you know those guys. They're funny. They got a sense of humor. But I just, if you take this bolt out and this one last, as you loosen this bolt, you walk this out and you don't have to get the connector off. It'll be about 10 minutes. I'll be right back. Getting close. Boom. Not so bad. I want to take 4 minutes, not 10. Here we go to save the day. Let's took these nuts off here so I can get to these nuts. A lot of nuts around here, I know that much. don't dodge, ram it. Sounded pretty good. That thing got a hit me. Got my training jack under here, so we're good to go with that. A couple of love taps. That thing is dislodged. Huh. The exhaust is under the way. That's troubling. It's all Bill's fault. Also got to take the nut off the mount here and get this out. And drop the exhaust, I think. Oh, my training jack is messing with me. That's not cool. That's better. You know what I got to do? I should have got a pole jack. I forgot that when I do these, I usually get a pole jack and get the mount and exhaust out of the way, and then put the training jack in, take the pole jack out. But I skipped a step. That's all right. I'm tired. It's the end of the week. I got this cool plug for just such an occasion, so I don't get messes all over me and stuff. It doesn't stop it completely from leaking, but it slows it down a lot. Get this pole jack going out. It was outside, so it's kind of rusted up, but we'll fix it. Brand new. Man, you'd be amazed to know that BMW is off the back lift. It's not out of the bay. It's just backed off the lift a little bit. That thing must be running. That's awesome. I don't want this exhaust to fall. Doesn't get a lot easier than that. You have to have this cross member out to get the pipe out, by the way. So when you go back together, you got to remember to get the exhaust up first. Not that I've ever done that by mistake. Just so you guys know. Now I can lower this down to get to the top bolts a little better. The only thing tricky on these now, I got to get the cooler lines out. Got to pop the plastic caps off and get the retainer ring or clips to release. And then the fuel lines have their own bracket on a stud up top. A lot of guys just leave them off. I'm glad to see whoever did it last put it back on. It's supposed to be there, so you put it back, right? It don't look too good, but it's easy to change later on. Like I mentioned yesterday when I showed this truck at first, before I started on it, which was today, but this is a friend of the guy with the red Silverado who was very patient with us trying to get his distributor stuff fixed. And his friend wants his rear main seal done. So that's what we're doing. But they are mechanically inclined. They do some repairs themselves. I wouldn't want to do this without a lift and all that stuff, so I think they can do little things like that themselves later on. I'm not sure about the U-joints either. I'm going to ask them or let them know about those U-joints and see what's up with that. But I got my long extension. I have one even longer than this if I need it. Start buzzing some, I think there's a couple 13s on the brackets that hold the fuel lines, and then everything else should be 15. You know what I'm saying?
Hey!
Hey, what's up?
You know.
Same old, same old? Gotta get this dipstick out. And, huh? Normal day?
Normal day.
In the neighborhood? Beautiful day in this Beautywood? Won't you be my neighbor? I don't want to damage the dipstick, I just want to pop it out. I'm gonna take this here tapping device. There you go. Got my drain pan on there just in case. The stud that was under the dipstick's the last bolt. So now I gotta get them clips out of the cooler lines. You guys been watching a while, you know I just popped the clips out of there with this. Hopefully. That's the hope at least. And then while the transmission's out, I'll pop them back in. And we'll be ready for reassembly. Let's get that last stud out of there. It's too big, doesn't fit. What the hell?
Oh god, I can't watch that shit.
Something not right. Let me call an expert. Oh, you know, this might have the... Yeah, this is the one that has one right in the center, too. It's been a minute. Small block Chevys usually have 2 at the top and 2 on each side. This one has 2 on each side, 2 at the bottom, and 2 on the left side, and a hole on the right side. There isn't a bolt there. It's kind of weird, so it threw me off. We'll get it. That was weird. I turned that nut to get the bracket off the stud, and the stud came out of the transmission, which means the little 13mm nut was tighter than the stud. There it is. Now it's out. Almost looks like the oil pan might be leaking more than the... Someone's got orange silicone on here, which orange is made for coolant. For exhaust. But it's not the end of the world. It's just not the best RTV to use. I don't see a rear main seal that's all that bad, to say the truth. But all right, let me take the flywheel off. We'll get a better look. It's not wet from the seal up, it's wet at the oil pan. Plus, it's got a pretty good oil leak going on over here somewhere. And it's probably also leaking from this orange silicone. I'm going to continue and put the rear main seal in. And at least we'll get this orange silicone out of there and make sure that's all buttoned up and done right. And we'll see. Oh boy. Robert sent me a nice card and a couple of gifts. I really appreciate that, Robert. Look at this thing. This guy's badass. That is freaking cool. And oh, there's some kind of a sign. Beware of Jimmy. Oh, that is awesome. Let's get the shirt out of the bag, see what it looks like. All the way from Australia too. Very cool. Two-sided. That's awesome, man. I really appreciate that, Robert. That is awesome. Hope you're feeling better. He said that he gets a lot from my channel, watching the channel. It says the sunshine of his day, or the light of his day. I appreciate it. All the way from Australia, it's had to cost a few bucks, man. It's really appreciated. You don't have to do that kind of stuff, but it really lets me know I'm doing something right when you guys do that. Let's get back to work. did spray this all down with brake clean. Get this installed, get it all back together. It was really low on oil, so I didn't want to run it. Otherwise, I'd have verified it myself, but I asked them about it up front, but I was basically shot down, so I said, okay. There's a lot of orange silicone. Guys, I'm going to say this for the new folks. Don't put RTV anywhere manufacturer didn't. Especially orange RTV. Now that you've had the engine apart, you check this plug, make sure the O-rings are on it. I'm going to clean the RTV off of this. We already know not to use a Scotch lock pad. I got to clean the RTV out of here. And we're going to run a bead all the way down this again, but it'll be of the gray or black kind. Before I start cleaning, I'm going to make sure nothing goes down into the motor here a little bit. Put some brake clean on my rags, wipe it down a couple times until this feels like it has some friction. When you rub your finger on it, it still slides. There's still oil film. You don't want it. There's a tiny bit of forgiveness with these O-ring style gaskets, but you basically don't want oil all over there. Try to get as much of this orange stuff out here as I can. I wanted to do the oil pan gasket while we were here, but since we're not disturbing the oil pan, aligning the cover is a lot easier because it aligns to the oil pan. If you don't have the oil pan on, you need the tools to align everything because the cover kind of floats. The seal will self-center itself to some degree. You also don't ever want to lubricate this. I always see videos on YouTube where guys are lubricating this area and lubricating the new seal. Specifically says in all the GM instructions, never lubricate the seal. It's designed to be dry on the crankshaft, believe it or not. It's a special Teflon seal that has to bed in. And there's no lip on the crank, feels good. Should be able to bed in just fine. A little more cleanup work, we'll be ready to start putting this back together. I'm also going to run some down here. Just for insurance purposes. Now that seal's not under any tension. It'll center itself pretty well. You want to put all the bolts in and just snug this plate up to the block, but not tighten it. Then put the oil pan bolts in with a little sealant on the threads. And you want to torque the oil pan bolts first, so it's pulled down to the pan and the gasket real well. 106 inch-pounds on the oil pan bolts and 22 foot-pounds on the cover bolts. Little sealant on there. got the torque wrenches. Got to clean these bolts up, put a little thread lock on them. A little bit of the good stuff. This thing's like a big chapstick. Just keep turning it till you get what you need. Like silky, kissable lips. This is the stuff. I think I got that mixed up. You're not supposed to over tighten these bolts either. You can cause micro cracks in the crankshaft hub. I believe it's 62 foot-pounds. I gotta look. That was nowhere near 62, so we should be good. I'm gonna check and come back. I was looking to use this to hold the flywheel, but it looks like it's much better turning it than it is holding it. So, I'll just put it away. They want you doing 3 passes, ending at 74 foot-pounds. I got to get the dipstick in here when I get a little closer. Got my clips back in my retainers. Just like that. It's basically on. I mean, I got a little bit of a gap I gotta work out. But you can do that a couple different ways. You can push from the back, or you can get something like this and just ask it really nicely. Piece of cake. Throw a couple bolts in here and we're on our way. To get these top brackets, I use my bolt tool to make sure the bolt doesn't pinch the bracket, and then to lift it onto the stud. Usually there's not a camera on, but we'll see. It's a little bit of experience, determination, and my urge to put on a good show, that's all. Boom. Put this back in before I even get close to the exhaust and stuff going in, just because it's easier with everything out of the way. This 8mm bolt holds this bracket for the fuel lines on too. I don't know if I showed that earlier. Now this is adjustable too. So now we've messed with the adjustment a little bit, but I'm going to look and see if there's marks from the washers left on it. If there isn't, then we're going to have to put it in reverse and move this till the reverse lights come on, and then it's set. Then you can tighten it down the rest of the way. Or you look for his little cuts, like in a little circular cut. It's easy. You can snug it up and loosen it back up a little bit. Yeah, I'll show you the mark. See the witness mark? That's where we're good. Oh yeah. New car. Throw the bolts. I think I might be a little too high up on this one though. We'll see. Oh, yeah. guide slot one. It has a narrower slot. All the other holes are bigger. And if you tighten them first, then it's off center. So I usually go around twice anyway. Make sure they're all tight. The board is nice and flat on the flywheel. Put the starter up after this, and then the exhaust. So get your little starter splash here. Nice long starter bolts go there. That's easy to remember. And for those, I've got a straight socket because it's a real tight squeeze against the plastic shield. Then you got a little tiny screw. I thought there used to be a 10mm head. Maybe someone lost it and put this in, but it works, and that's what matters. Tighten that up. There you go. Nice firm click. Plastic cap should fit on there good. Alright, now I can put the exhaust up. See how easy that is? This job pays way too much. Everybody should be a mechanic so they can experience a leisurely job, leisurely occupation, and wealth beyond their wildest dreams. Someone once told me, you complain too much for someone making $150 an hour. Nope. I might have mentioned it once before, but the mechanics don't get what you pay at the shop. Matter of fact, if you get your hair cut, the barber gets half what they charge you, and the shop you're at gets half, but mechanics don't get half. They don't get a third. Anywhere near that, unless you have your own shop. Then you got to deal with cranky mechanics. Who wants that? One is a, watch your feet. There's a 17 in there somewhere. Did you guys see what I did with the socket? Can't find it. Watch your feet. 17's gone. I lost it. And this one don't fit. I gotta buy some tools. Now I tighten the flat flange first. This side is a tapered. And the flange moves, so you want to tighten the one that's not adjustable first. Also on those, that gasket on the right side likes to fall out. So if you look at that tapered gasket, it's got little fingers that you can bend out to make it snug enough to stay in place. Otherwise, it's a huge hassle. And nobody wants that. Don't forget your rear bolts. Tighten those up. We are just about in business. I'm going to, man, there's oil everywhere under here. All down the right side. What else do I gotta do? Let's see. Got my shifter cable, linkage, wiring connections. All my O2 sensors are plugged in. One over the cross member, two over this frame rail, and one up left front is by the transmission on the side. I think I'm ready to put the cross member in, top up the oil, and fire this thing up. Now we're getting close. Get out of the way, will you? There you go. Two nuts for that are different. They're shallower because they're only really holding on a fuel dampener, I suppose. Let's top this oil up and see what happens. Put 3 quarts in first and check it. I know it was low enough to get an oil level warning. Alright, should be about right, just a touch over. We're gonna fire it up. And everybody cut out early except me and Joe. The heck? A couple of them guys live real far away, so let's fire it up. Loads of oil pressure. Let it run a few minutes, see if it's dripping. Look at that. That plate must have been leaking pretty good at the joints where the oil pan and the seal plate meet, or cam plate they call it, because it's been running about 15 minutes. I only see one drip from the front, which the timing cover is leaking a little bit, and the oil pan maybe a little bit. Hopefully we got it taken care of for him. I'm still skeptical, but that plate was leaking and the orange silicone wasn't helping. So we'll see how it goes with it, but it's done. My part of the job is done. So we're getting ready to close up, just me and Joe. So we're gonna button this place down for the day. Appreciate you watching today. It's turned out to be a Tahoe Rear Main Seal video. Hope you enjoyed it. It's been my pleasure. Torque the like button before you head out. Maybe check out the Amazon store if you feel the gumption. And thanks again to Robert for sending those gifts, man. I really appreciate that. And I hope I see you in the next video, because you're awesome.